So I got some fresh scallion from my garden. I'm gonna have scallion, thyme, parsley, some Jamaican all-purpose seasoning, a little black pepper, salt. Of course, I have an Irish moss to drink to hydrate outside. Yeah, and for my soup, that I have mixed some of the seasons like onion, sweet pepper. I blended it to throw in. I'm gonna wash my hands before I get started. I'm gonna cut up my pumpkin next into cubes so I can put it first thing to boil so it can crush out a little bit to give a little color, that orange yellowish color to the soup. So I'm gonna fill my pot with some water and put it on so it can start boiling while I cut up all my veggies. Put the pot on the fire, turn it on a little bit medium heat. That's my outside grill stove. So I'm gonna turn on the gas and gotta fix the pot properly so it doesn't, tip over. So I have to turn the gas on underneath, and then I have to turn my burner on. Okay, so now I'm gonna put a little salt while it boils. While the water boils, I put a little salt, and I'm going to cover the pot and let that bubble up for a couple minutes. Now I'm gonna get into cutting up my pumpkin, cutting up my carrots, and get everything washed and put in the pot to boil. I put the pumpkin and carrots first because I want them to crush out so I can get a little color for my soup, like that rich color for my soup. I normally cut up my chocho, my Irish, and my little veggies and put in. I want to wash them and I keep them in a container and put some water and just cover it until it's time to put it in to boil at the end, because you can't put it in so early because they're just gonna mash out in the soup. So like 15 minutes before your soup is done, that's when you put in your chocho, your coco, your Irish potato, your corn. So that's the thing. Those things goes in after your dumplings. So I'm gonna cut up all these carrots and pumpkin first and wash them and let them boil in the pot. So of course I'm gonna add a little thyme, my freshly cut scallions, and I'm gonna wash these bad boys and throw it in. Okay, so let's wash these. Who does not love outdoor cooking? Just being outside, typical Jamaican yard, you cook your pot of soup outside by your coal fire. But yeah, we're used with gas stove outside today. So give it a good wash. I like to wash my veggies all the time. Wash it. I normally wash it once or twice. So give it a good wash. Then I'm gonna throw that in the pot so it could boil. So while that is boiling, your next step would be to prep everything else. I normally prep everything else. So while these are boiling to crush out to give the soup that color, I'm going to, in the meantime, knead my flour. I'm gonna cut up my other veggies, my chocho, coco, and stuff, and leave it in a little bit of water and cover it until it's time to add it into the pot. Of course, I add a Scotch bonnet pepper so that could boil with it. This is my blended green seasoning. This is green pepper, bell peppers, red peppers, onions, garlic, a little bit of scallion, and I just blend it with water, and I'm just adding this so it could boil with the soup. If you want the ingredients, if you want all the ingredients that is inside of this green season, it's so good. You can make chicken, you can put it in your rice and peas, you can basically put your mixed blended green seasoning in anything. And the Jamaican way, you have to rinse out the little bowl and throw the remaining at the pot. Now, waste it. So yeah, I'm rinse it out, wash my board because I'm about to cut my other veggies, my Irish potatoes and other stuff. So I'm gonna wash it. Yeah, a little backyard clean up outside, all the pot that boil outside there, you know. Okay, so crawfish time. You gotta roast your crawfish. That gives it the flavor. You have to roast your crawfish. That shell, when those shells are roasted, that's what gives your soup the flavor. So you have to roast them. You can't just put your crawfish in the pot and boil it and make soup. You have to roast them. When them shell there catch fire and you throw it in the pot, that's the flavor you want. That smell you get from a mile away, yeah, you know your mother cook some crayfish soup. Of course, catching it from the river in Jamaica and just cooking it, the taste is way better, while we have to get these frozen bags here. But nevertheless, roast them, you throw them in the pot. So I have to turn them so, you know, it doesn't burn. So yeah, let those bad boy roast and then you throw them in the pot. And then next, I had my seasoning, some allspice or some pimento seeds. I add this to the pot. I normally had cloves. Sometimes I'll add a little cloves, like 1 or 2, because you can't add too much, because it's just going to give it an off taste. So like 1 or 2 cloves would be fine, and like 2 pimento seeds or 2 allspices. Add that to the pot, let it bubble up. And then, of course, I'm going to add I don't measure, I just use my judgment. So I'm going to taste it at the end to make sure if it's like have enough salt, have enough this, have enough that. So I'm just going to shake some seasoning in the pot by my judgment, and I'm going to know it's going to make the taste right. So yeah, so I have to add some onion powder, garlic powder, a little all-purpose seasoning, little twips of cayenne pepper, you know, Jamaican style. You throw it in the cork, and sprinkle it in the pot. We use a judgment. We don't use measuring utensils. But if you need a correct measurement of the seasoning that you want to put in the pot for the desired taste, so you're trying to make it for the first time, you want to make sure you have the correct seasoning, you can always reach out to me or request for me to do a video. I can do the exact measurements for you guys to see. So that's in some onion powder. My brother doesn't like to eat onions, so that's why I use the onion powder. It has a slight different taste than the original stuff, but you can use onion powder. Put a little cayenne pepper in there, and throw in some other seasoning all purpose. All the other seasonings, I'm just gonna season up the pot. Alrighty, and then after you season up the pot, of course you have to mix it up, stir it up, make sure everything's all seasoned and mixed around. I normally use a spoon and a fork, and sometimes I will take the pumpkins up or the carrots and smash them out a little bit. Help the pot smash it out a little bit, so it this soup is not gonna be as thick because it's crawfish soup, and I don't like to make it thick. You can make it thick if you want to by adding extra pumpkin, crushing it out and stuff, but I'm gonna make this soup, it's just like thin water, but the flavor and everything is gonna be there. So this soup, I don't want it to be as thick. Okay, so give that a nice little stir around. Make sure all the seasoning is mixed properly in the pot. See, all the pumpkin and stuff is already smashing out, crushing out, so the soup's having that little color. So the next thing that I'm gonna do is to cut up my veggies, as I was telling you guys earlier, and I'm gonna just leave them in the white pan. You have to leave it with a little bit of water. You can't just, for example, say you're doing house chores or stuff like that, and you're just having other things to do. I normally just cut them up. You have to put water in it. If you don't put water in it while they're just sitting there, they're gonna change colors. They're gonna have different colors. You have to set them in water until it's time to throw them in the pot. Okay, so you gotta cut these bad boys up. That's Irish potato, cocoa, corn. I'm gonna, strip my corn. I love to use the corn that's, like this. I don't like to use the frozen corns, but you can't use the frozen corn. But yeah, I put all of this in my pan and I'm going to wash them because I always wash. So wash them with my water and give it a good 1 or 2 washes. Rub them properly so, they're ground provisions. They were digged from the ground, so I normally wash them to make sure any little dirt or anything's on them, it's gets off it. So give it a good little wash. I would say wash it twice because sometimes, for example, yams has a little slimy feeling texture to it, so you have to wash yam a few times to get it off. But these are cocos and they don't have that texture, but it still has a little weird texture. I like to just wash it twice to make sure they're all clean. Okay, so I give it a second wash. You don't have to. You can wash it as many times as you wish. And then I'm gonna just sit this with some water until it's time to throw it in. I'm gonna go ahead and also knead my flour for my dumplings. So again, sometimes you need a measuring cup. Some people use a measuring cup to know the amount of water, but I just judge it from me making it and how it feels. It's supposed to, when you're done, it's the texture of the flour should be smooth and a little bit gummy, but not where it's sticking on your fingers. It should be a nice, soft, tender, fluffy, like Play-Doh. It should feel like Play-Doh, but not too soft, not too hard. It shouldn't be sticking on your fingers when you're making the actual dumplings to put in the pot. So I knead my flour and I'm just gonna sit it down until it's time for me to make my dumplings. Okay. So making my dumplings. Just add water as I go. You just have to know the texture that you want it to be. When you make dumplings so often, you know the texture it's supposed to be. So if you're making it for the first time, it's okay if it's going to be too soft. If you get your flour too soft, all you have to do is add more flour. If you make it, put too much water and it's sticking on your fingers and it's not forming into a perfect Play-Doh texture, you can just add more flour. It's okay. But yeah, it might take you 2 or 3 times. That's how your flour is supposed to look. And I'm gonna cover this bad boy and leave it for a couple minutes until it's time to put it in the soup pot. Okay, so it is time to put my dumplings in because everything else is boiled. The crawfish, everything else is ready. So in the next 20-25 minutes, the soup will be ready. So you gotta knead your flour, knead the dumplings, put them in the pot. And yeah, I'm gonna make a few of them. I'm gonna make 10 dumplings. It's a big pot. Might have made too much because it's just feeding 4 people today. It's just 4 people in the house today. So yeah, I'm gonna make this still can make about 10 sized dumplings. 10 of these dumplings. Very cutie, tiny and cute dumplings. But yeah, feel free to reach out to me if you guys need me to make anything in particular for you guys to see. Any special recipe, anything you see online, you want me to make, just let me know and I can make it for you guys. So I made all my dumplings, give it up a good stir, and wash my hands, wash all the flour off my hands. And yeah. Outside cooking is the best cooking. Almost done. It's bubbling. Yummy. Alrighty. See all that goodness right there. There's no noodle in as yet. You know, we have the Jamaican conch noodle. I haven't put any noodle. That's just my pumpkin and carrots. So whenever your soup is, this is how you know your soup is almost ready to eat. The last ingredients you add in before the noodle, your corn, your little things that take a little time to boil. Why you add your Irish potato, cocoa, and chocho and corn last minute is because they take the quickest time to boil. They take like 10 minutes to actually boil. So you would just add it in when the soup's almost done. And yeah, I have to test the crawfish. So I have to slide one in the plate to test it. But yeah, so that's how you know your soup is almost done. So if you have people in the house coming to check, oh, I'm hungry. And once them say dumpling and corn and Irish potato go in, them say, yeah, soup's ready. So I normally put my noodle in a bowl and mix it in water before I throw it in. Because if you just throw it in like that, sometimes it just sticks up and, you know, don't dissolve properly. So I normally throw my noodle in a container, mix it with a little cold water, and then throw it in the pot. And it's time to eat. This is how you make Jamaican style crawfish soup. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and let me know if there are any particular recipes that you would want me to make. See you next time. Bye. Finally, them legal.